and I work also with Alan, not in real estate per se, but I work in the real estate realm. I'm a home warranty representative outside sales for a home warranty company, so I work with brokers and realtors every day. I have mortgage, real estate background of 10 years within the real estate realm, and I was introduced to Deborah in December and at a retreat that Alan held, and it was amazing, and I've since been attending the Mind Masters on a monthly basis, and I'm just looking to also evolve and learn more about myself and find my true self and what I truly want, and that self-love is what I also want to just deepen, and since coming here, I've been able to notice certain things and be conscious of to grow that. So,
that's awesome. Thanks for being here. Yeah. And Brian, can you hear us okay?
I don't know if you can respond because it's just a one-way thing right now.
Is it really?
Yeah,
okay.
He said he can hear.
Okay, so hi Brian from Romania. Hi. Say hi Brian. Good to have you join us. And just so you know, we're recording this, so if given that you're 9 hours ahead of us, if you nod off, you won't miss anything. So we'll figure out a way to send you the link, right, to the entire day. And did you let them know that on the breaks we're gonna pause it?
Yeah.
And then you can have a break. Okay, cool. So thank you. So I'm gonna tell a little bit about Brian. So probably 10 years ago, I went to an event at the Los Angeles Chamber over on Vixel, and I connected with Brian. We just, we met in the foyer after the event, and we just, it was like, you know what it's like when you meet someone that's kind of a kindred spirit, right? And so relationships are just amazing. He was at the time he was on his way back to Romania. He has family here, and he does import-export and handles all sorts of government things in Romania for import-export for companies. And so I can't really tell you exactly when it happened, but sometime within the last year, he just responded to one of my email campaigns. So we're gonna, in the business conference, we talk about marketing, the importance of constantly reaching out and staying in front of people. And so he was going to attend the NLP training last October, and he had his flight booked, and then something blew up back there with one of his clients, and he needed to stay back and take care of things, so he wasn't able to fly in for that. But he's here today. And so we'll find a way, Brian, for you to join us in September. How does that sound? So that's the story about Brian, and maybe Sally, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Sally Williams. I'm Deborah and I met over 10 years ago. We were attending Myers-Briggs 16 type personality, 16 type personality workshop for 5 days. So we're going to get certified, and we just connected.
Yeah.
We just connected, and we've been connected ever since. So she's an excellent friend. And I have to share with you this tidbit. Those of you that were here a couple of weeks ago, I shared with her some things that were going on personally with me. And I immediately went home and applied that to my marriage. And immediately things changed around. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but how you get a spat with your husband or your wife or whatever, and you're like, this kind of thing. And it's always their fault. If this class helped out 100%, it's turned completely around that night. So I was very, very happy. I think I called the next day and shared with you what happened. So these classes were not very appreciated.
Oh, so glad that you're here. When I think back in the terms of like the lifetime of my career span that I've been doing this, which is like 20 years, I can't even count how many spouses have reached out to me and said thank you. And normally about 90% of my client base is male, because usually it's men that own companies or in leadership roles around the world. So the very first time that happened for me was like 1992. And I was a platform speaker, and I was flying around Canada and the US speaking conferences. And I met the fire chief of a major city in Canada and started coaching him. And we worked together for about 3 or 4 months, maybe a little more. When one day during our session, he said, I'm not going into the office today, can you call me at home? So I called him at home, and his wife answered the phone. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad to get to talk to you. I have to tell you, like, our marriage has completely turned around. Whatever you're doing with my husband, just keep doing it. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's at the end of the day, and you said it, it's all about self-love. And I'm going to teach you some really powerful tools today. I'm going to do some healing on you, and we're going to release some blocks, and we're just going to have a magnificent day. So thank you for being here. And maybe, Julia, you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. So my name's Julia. I'm Deborah's assistant as of a couple weeks ago.
Still here?
I'm originally from Arizona. I recently moved back to California because the past 2 years I was living abroad in Malaysia. I was a Fulbright fellow and was working in education, teaching at a rural school, and then coordinating training American Fulbrighters who were coming into the country, doing a lot of diplomatic work there. Now I'm back in the States and I'm training to become a certified life coach. I'm very passionate about working with people and helping them move past their blocks, which is how I kind of got in touch with Deborah and was inspired by her work, and I'm now sort of assisting and helping in this process.
Yeah, so thank you for being here. So interesting story how I met Julia through another gal was I was asked to come and do a talk at Opus Dei, which is interesting that they would ask me, because my understanding is that, it's the I don't want to get it wrong because we're recording this. It's the higher sort of organization within the Catholic Church. Yeah. And so, it was just truly a gift, like to be able to be asked to come into Opus Dei and do a workshop for a group of women. And so the place was packed. I mean, there was like chairs all the way out the back. And we kept adding chairs, and people were kind of like sitting like right on top of each other. And I met this lovely gal, and she came over and said, I'd love to intern for you. And then it didn't work out because she's in bioscience, and she had to go a different direction. But she introduced me to Julia. And so it's, it's such a blessing to just have stuff show up. You don't even have to work for that. We're going to talk about that today too. So on that note, for those of you that know me, in the last 6 months, I've had a massive download on a spiritual level. And it's been a really nice integration between everything I've taught and known over the last lifetime, times, and to be able to pull that together mentally, emotionally, and spiritually into the physical realm. And so I decided what I wanted to do with that was to take the mind mastery, which we've been doing monthly, and to actually build it out within that series and offer these neuroscience tools. And so neuroscience is a kind of a sexy new terminology that's really come to the forefront in terms of mindset management, behavioral change processes. But if I could just demystify that right away and just say it really just reduces down to self-love. And so I'm going to show you how to do that both from a physiological and biological perspective, and then also from a psychological and sociological perspective, because we're biopsychosocial beings. There's a biological aspect to us, right? There's a psychological aspect to us in terms of how we think. And then there's a sociological aspect to us in terms of the environment that we pull around us and create as a result of who we're being with ourselves, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my gift with you. And so that gift is to read energy. And so I've always been able to do it. I just, for some reason, I guess I wasn't ready to own it at 100%. and but I do now. So you're in for an awesome day. And so in the owning of that 100%, I know the reason why I wasn't owning it previously, and that's because early on I owned it, but I was in an environment that not only did they not get it, but they bristled at it. They criticized it, and they denied it, and it just wasn't safe to bring it out and to really be authentically who I was. Because whenever I did do that, whenever I was standing in my authentic self, it was met with massive resistance and criticism, which resulted in abuse. And I'm just like, I'm not going there, you know? So I kind of put the whole thing sort of over here to the side, but yet I used it, I just didn't really go public with it, you know what I'm saying? And I used to get this, you know, whenever I would give a speech, I was always in conflict with myself because I wanted to, you know, just come clean and just say, this is my gift, you know, I'm psychic, I'm clairvoyant, I'm telepathic, I read energy, I can see through layers in people, I pick up on vibrations, and I can change them. Yet I just, you know, I guess it was a little ahead of my time, and it just didn't fit to stand up in front of a room of corporate folks and say, hey, you got a block, I can shift that for you. But the time is now, and it's a beautiful thing, because mass consciousness is actually caught up. And as a result of that, there's just like tons and tons of people on the planet that are seeking to integrate that into their everyday life, whether they're the barista at a coffee shop or they're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You know, they're looking for the way to shift that. So, so that is my gift. My gift is that I read energy in people, and what happens for me is it's like messages come into me via a voice. Like a voice will say to me, their block is fear around this, and it happened back then. Like that'll just pop. Another way it happens for me is when I look at people, sometimes, you know, on the stock market, you see those little ticker tapes on the bottom of the screen. So I'll see a ticker tape going across their forehead that says, yeah, you know, my ego is invested in shame, or my heart is blocked because I was abused. Like when I'm in a corporate setting and I'm facilitating an executive roundtable with a bunch of CEO types, I know exactly everything that has ever happened to everyone at the table and how they're playing that out in their current life. I can see who's been abused, how they got abused, who did it to them, when it happened, who was gifted and shut down their gift. Like I see it all. And I even pick up on who's cheating on their spouse, who's cheating at work, who's avoiding their power. Like it's just sometimes a little overwhelming. So when I go to big events or when I go to clubs, you know, nightclubs or conferences, I actually dial it down because it gets a little noisy. You know, it's just like information overload. So the thing is that I want to share this with you today for a variety of reasons. One, because it would just be a pity not to. And two, because I think it will help you. And I want to give to you as much of it as I can that you're actually able to utilize it for yourself after the class, okay? So that kind of sets the tone for what we're going to do today. Now, I have to apologize, Julie, because I did not bring the clicker, and I'll get it on the break. So could I ask you to flip slides for me? So we're going to start with a little bit of review of what I wrote out on the 12th of June, and that is the energy, just how to understand the power of energy. And so I took some information from Dr. Emoto's Hidden Messages in Water. And I'd recommend you get the book and watch his stuff online because it's really cool. So basically what he did is he took plain tap water and he put it under a microscope, he froze it, put it under a microscope, and then he looked at the makeup of the molecular structure of the water, and he could then see how the water took on shape based on the way he spoke to it and the intention that he put on it. So his intention was just a thought process. It was an emotional process. It was, we all have intentions, right? We get up in the morning and we intend to have an amazing day. But then what might happen is our limiting beliefs might come in and cause us to fall off of that intention. And that's what we call blocks or judgments. So we'll get into that as we progress through the day. So basically, crystals emerge for only 20 or 30 seconds as the temperature rises and the ice starts to melt. This short window of time gives us a glimpse into the world that is indeed magical. And so basically what he did is he did this experiment where he would send different intentions to the ice, and then he took a shot of it, a clip of it, and right from negative things to positive things. Negative intentions to positive intentions, negative self-talk. So this is where, you might be asking the question like, why do I care? Well, it's because we're 75% water. Oh, did you bring this with you?
I'm a facilitator.
I love it. Shut up.
USB's right there under the bottom to plug in.
And then you don't have to sit there. Isn't that awesome? I'm sorry. Accident is given, right? Right? Is that an accident is given moment? Thank you. Just all say thank you. That's so awesome. She was like, oh my God. I just have to walk around with a sticker in my hand. See, that's why girls have purses. Right? Like Chick Howard.
Right.
Right? Yeah, seriously, Victoria. There you go. Okay, so here's the deal. So thank you so much. So the thing is that we're 75% water. We're really not solid. We might think we're solid. And that's kind of like maybe another level class I can get into in terms of the quantum physics side of who you are. However, just to play on that for a second, is that whatever you think you are, you're not. Right? Whatever you think you are, you're not. And so the power of whatever you think you are is actually what creates you to be who you think you are. So the power of who you think you are is what creates you to be who you think you are. So if you think you're blocked, you'll be blocked. If you think you're fat, you'll be fat. If you think you're blessed, you'll be blessed. And it's really simple. Now, is it easy to get to that space? Well, it takes some work, really. It takes a choice. You either show up or you don't. And if you don't, that's fine. Let's not make not showing up wrong. So it's really whatever you want to do with your life. Because we're infinite beings, and whatever you don't do with yourself this lifetime, you'll do next lifetime. We're endless, we're infinite, we're a continuum. So it kind of takes the pressure off, I think, of having to be perfect or right or the best. All of that ego stuff that we've been sold and bought into, that in order to be okay, you have to live here, drive this, know this person, wear these labels, have this body. Like, it's all bullshit, really. So, right? You just like dial it down. That's really what it is. And so what, in this experiment, what Dr. Emoto sets out to do is to actually give us some sort of visual demonstration of how our thoughts actually really affect us in real time. And then those thoughts, being vibratory, attract to us exactly what they are. Which is a beautiful thing to know that, because it takes the whole victimization aspect of life out of the equation. So there are no victims. You know, there's no such thing as an accident. I think that's old, like that's really old information, right? That came out with Dan Brown's book, Before the 10th Insight. What was it? Help me. No, that's fiction, sort of. No, it was Before the 10th Insight, the not, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Well, it'll come to me. I'll share it with you. These things, you know, I have so much going on right now. It's like thousands of pieces of information coming in, and I only have one mouth to get it out. So the point is that whatever thoughts we think, whatever limiting beliefs we run, whatever judgments we have about ourselves will always be reflected back to us through all of our experiences all the time. And so the beauty of that is when you change your thinking, you can change your life. Because there's really nothing outside of us that's doing anything to us. That's why there's no accidents. So in this experiment, he will show us how that looks. So hidden messages in water, isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. Gorgeous, like mind-blowing. You know, it's like a snowflake, right? It's perfection. So here are some examples of how thoughts look when you project them at water. So the photo on the left is an ice crystal frozen from severely polluted water. So if you wonder what we're doing to our lakes and streams when we allow large corporations to dump their sludge into it, that's what it looks like on the left. Okay? The photo on the right is the same water refrozen after having been blessed. So the power of prayer is ridiculous. It took polluted water, and look at the beauty it created. The power of prayer. So we all have the ability to not only heal ourselves, but to heal our earth as well. So there's pure water on the left, which is natural. Isn't it extraordinary? Who would have ever thought that water actually looked that way? And we just don't think about it, do we? And we're in California and we have a drought. And doesn't it make you wonder what we're doing to ourselves? See, I see the drought as being something very different than what it really is. Like the way we're being sold the drought is really from overuse, overconsumption, and lack of responsibility around that. I actually see our drought as being a byproduct of our egoic thinking system, that we can think and do whatever the hell we want and there are no consequences. And it comes back down to that victim concept again. So now we, and I'm speaking we in terms of general terms to make a point. So now we look at it as being, okay, we have a drought issue, oh, poor us. And then we have these organizations that are actually whining and complaining that they have to cut back their water use. And I'm like, hello people, let's wake up to the awareness and the consciousness that it's our thinking system that's created the lack of drought. So at some level, sorry, not lack of drought, the lack of water. On some level, there's a buy-in that there's a lack. And so in that competitive mindset, we overconsume to make sure we get ours before someone else gets the other. And that competitive mindset is old, it's archaic, it's Newtonian physics, it's just like competitive consciousness, that there's a limited piece of the pie. So if you wake up every day and you say, I'm going out into the world to get business because there's not enough, there won't be enough. But if you get up in the morning and you say, I'm creating business, limitless business today, because there's more than enough for everyone, then there'll always be more than enough. So there's water after prayer, right? There's water with a thank you label in Japanese. So the water's in a bottle and the label says thank you. That's how sensitive. That's how sensitive you are. Let's just put this on right now and bring it into the room. That's how sensitive we are. So when we, the point is that when we put labels on other people, let's say you walk into a room and you judge someone. You're in a place lower than appreciation of that person as a human being. Let's say you look at them and you go, oh, they're fat, or they're dressed badly, or they're poor, or they're not very smart, or they're not as good as me, or whatever it is you project onto them, then that's the vibration that not only you project onto them, but then gets mirrored back onto you, and then you become more of that. So by putting a simple projection of thank you onto people, thank you for being here with me today, it ups the vibration on the water in your system, and then that ups the vibration in your thought patterns. And then this last one is water with a Hitler label in Japanese. Right? So there's the word angel. The word peace, the word spirit. There's the words you disgust me. So when you're arguing with your spouse, please be careful what you speak over them. When you're dealing with your children, you might want to rethink what you say to them. How about the words you fool? Right? And then we've got, so air on, so by box composition in G, then we've got the song Imagine by John Lennon. We've got Amazing Grace, the song Amazing Grace. There's a photo of dolphins. And then there's a lotus flower. Do we lose them? Just move your arm.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, now here's heavy metal music. Right? There's You Make Me Sick, I Will Kill You. So you wonder why, people that hang out in gangs or prisons, that type of energy, how that impacts one's ability to step into their higher vibratory opportunities. There's Adolf Hitler, there's Mother Teresa. There's love and appreciation, and there's a thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So you can say those words and take a picture.
Yeah. Well, they project those words onto the water, and then they take a picture of the water.
I've been wrong, I've been listening to heavy metal music at the gym. Like, oh, that's maybe you're talking about maybe.
Well, it does, because it ramps you up, but then that's a manufactured ramp up rather than an authentic energy. Yeah. So there's water crystals after being exposed to the word I love you. And the second one is love and gratitude crystals of water after being, and then the third one is after being exposed to the word you fool. So those first two crystals, the first one is an I love you projection, the second one is a love and gratitude projection, and those same crystals then being projected with you fool, look what happened to the crystals. So think about what that does to you. Think about what you do to you when you say to yourself, oh my God, you're such an idiot. Like let's say you miss an exit on the freeway. And then even if you do what I just did where I slap myself, that creates an anchor neurologically so that it actually starts to run on its own, even if you're not saying it to yourself. And then shifting it back into it with a thank you. Look at what happens to the water now. Then we've got do it, and then we've got let's do it. So now we're including others, right? And then we've got more and we've got peace. So I think this is just a really nice visual to have of the power of your self-talk. And that's I love you. It's so beautiful. It's like a snowflake, right? All right. So let's talk a little bit about the glands in our brain. So these thoughts actually trigger our brain syndicate. And so the top 4 of our brain syndicate are our pituitary gland, our pineal gland, our hypothalamus, and our hippocampus. So I'm going to show you today how to connect into these glands. So you'll want to write down those 4 glands, because those are the 4 glands that I want you to work with on an ongoing basis. Okay? You're working with them on an ongoing basis anyway, so you might as well be doing it consciously. So how our thoughts affect our energy. Well, we saw in the water how our thoughts actually affect our energy, because that's we're 75% water. So what happens is our glands in our brain, so our brain is a transmitter and a receiver. It doesn't actually, I have to be careful how I say this so I don't contradict myself. So it's not actually initially responsible for creating thought, okay? It's because our mind is in every cell of our body. So our cells think, okay? Now, when we look at genetics, the concept of being genetically predisposed to something, then, you know, I always ask the question, well, are we really genetically predisposed to something, or is it a meme? So what's a meme? Well, a meme is a self-propagating thinking system that actually gets into the DNA structure of our cells. And so this ties into the water and our thought processes, because the more we think something, the more it actually becomes us, okay? So going back to the water, if we're thinking to ourselves, I can't ever get it right, there isn't enough, I can't have what I want, no one loves me, whatever it is we're thinking, and these programs run deep, right? They run very deep, and they start when we're really little. So sometimes they're running in the background, and we don't even know they're running. And this is the issue. So, you know, through today's class, my intention is to help you become aware of the thoughts you're thinking about yourself, the things you're saying to yourself, and then how those are manifesting in the experiences that you have in your life, so that you can actually go back to that root cause where that thought initiated or got programmed in, and you can actually delete out the limiting belief and install a loving program, a program of love. Because there's only 2 things in the world. Well, there's only one. There's only love. And everything that's not love is a derivative of fear. And fear is not real. So at the end of the day, there's only love. So what that means is, because I know that's a really big statement, and I remember hearing it forever and just going, yeah, okay. What that means is that whenever you're not in love, in a state of love, you're whatever else. So when we look at it from this perspective, all there is to get to is love. And to just stand in that state of being. Okay? And this is not ego love, this is just unconditional love of self. And no matter what happens in your life, you just love yourself. So you let go of the conditioning that if things aren't a certain way, I'm not lovable. See, this is the problem. And the media sells us this. So we look at adverts, and you know, whether you're a guy or a girl, we look at adverts and we compare ourselves to the people in the adverts. And those aren't even real, those people aren't even having that experience. They're paid to pretend they're having the experience and to make it look like you should have the experience too, because if you did, then you'd be happy like them. And you know, so what happens with that is that we, you know, the ego goes, oh, then that's what I should have, and without it, I'm not enough. And then we start to say to ourselves, I'm not enough, and pretty soon we've stepped so far away from love that the rest of our life starts to fall apart. And then when we focus on our life falling apart, then we get even further from love. Right? So, so the point is that within this brain syndicate, your, and I don't know what the deal is, it doesn't show the hippocampus. Do I have another picture of the brain syndicate? I do. Okay, so you see the pituitary gland, right? So the hippocampus is just below it. Let me talk to you about the hippocampus. For an electrician, you totally get it, right? So the hippocampus, the job of the hippocampus is to build wiring, basically. We call them neurotransmitters, neural pathways. So the hippocampus' main job is to build up wiring in the brain syndicate that is energetic by nature and simply transmits and receives whatever we feed it. So it doesn't judge. It just builds up wiring. So if you're thinking some kind of a thought of, I'm not enough, then the hippocampus goes about the business of developing neural pathways in the energy or vibration of I'm not enough. And the more you say it to yourself, the more it will build them, because that's its job. It doesn't sit there and go, you know what, if I build up these neurotransmitters, these electrical circuits about I am not enough, then Eileen will feel good about herself, so I better not build those. You know? It just doesn't even have that. It just goes about the business of building them up. Exactly. So, and it works the same way with your red blood cells, your white blood cells, your immune system, your endocrine system, your digestive system. Whatever you're saying to yourself is what you're creating, and whatever you're saying and creating is what's patterning, is what's telling, bless you, is what's telling your hippocampus to create. It's really that simple. So, not to minimize the concept of God, whatever your belief system is, let's just say you believe in God, or the universe, or spirit, or whatever it is, whatever word you want to give it. I call it God, okay? So, but I don't think God is this like old guy sitting in the sky with a big long white beard on a cloud, looking down and like threatening to throw lightning bolts at us. because we don't do something perfectly. For me, God is this omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient love that just whatever we ask for provides, including struggle. Because there's no filter on, oh my gosh, Sal doesn't want to lose the deal, so let me just make sure that he doesn't lose the deal. In Numbers, I'm thinking it's Numbers 4:14 or 4:28, it says, I will do for you what you have said. So whatever you say is what you create, which brings us back to how the hippocampus functions. So there's no filter on the hippocampus, you see? So it's really important to become consciously aware of how you relate to yourself all the time. Like your job isn't your job. Your job is to get to know yourself so well that you're totally dialed into everything you say to yourself about yourself 24/7. That's your only job. In this lifetime, in this body, you do that and you can create anything you want. Okay? So what the hippocampus does is it builds up all this wiring on whatever it is you're saying to yourself. And that wiring actually sends electrical, magnetic, hence the law of attraction, electromagnetic signals through your entire being, which is beyond your physical. So it's not your physical, it's all of you, especially your energy. So, therefore, you can use your senses, because we're human beings, right? You can use your senses to bring to you whatever it is you say you want. And the only thing that's keeping you from bringing to you the things that you say you want are what? Your judgments. Your judgments. Because judgments block. Like look what judgments do to water. And you're 75% water. So think about what you're doing to yourself. If you're criticizing yourself, if you're judging yourself, then what do you suppose your hippocampus is building on your behalf? A long time ago, there was this little book that came out called As a Man Thinketh. And now they've kind of updated it, and it's, As I Thinketh. So it's a little, I guess someone had an issue with the concept of genderization. Whenever I hear he, I know it's, it's a general terminology. Yeah, exactly. So these are pictures, this water are pictures of what your thoughts actually do to your environment. You are your environment. So whether that shows up as procrastination, whether it shows up as fear or doubt, whether it shows up as lack of love, poor health, whatever it shows up as. So essentially what takes place is early on in life, we get programmed to think we're a certain type of person based on our environment. And so in that programming, we build up, our hippocampus builds up a lot of neural pathways on whatever we accept, right? Because we're designed, our prime directive of our unconscious is designed for us to be a highly moral being. We really do honor that at a primordial level. The thing is what morality will be taught and accepted between 0 and 7. See, that's what plays out. So when I see energy on people, sometimes for me, I can see where a block actually spatially sits in your energy field. The other day I was speaking with someone, I can't remember who it was, and we were having a conversation, and so I met this gal that has a project, right, that she asked me to consult her on, and the project's brilliant, it just has not come to fruition. And while I was speaking with her, I could see off to like my right, her left, like it was like right over her shoulder, right by her ear, I saw the block. And I said to her, is the block XYZ? And she went, how do you know? Like we'd only sat down, we hadn't even like taken our first sip of our drink yet. It's like, because it's hanging out right here. So then we were able to trace that back to a point in time in her life where something took place and she tried to deflect and it just got caught in her energy and it just has been hanging out all her life when she's in her late 30s. So this, I love this because it demystifies reaching your goals. Now what I want to say to this, the caveat, is that you have to be willing to work on yourself to clear out the limiting beliefs, right? It's really important. If you're not willing to do that work, then there's no point. And it's okay. Again, there's no judgment on whether you work on yourself or not. It's just if you are committed to that, as I know you all are, because you're here, and I mean, Brian's coming in from Romania, so obviously he's committed, right? So the question is, what are you willing to do to make it happen? I talk to hundreds of people a week. I'm always on the phone talking to people, calling people up. Are you coming to class? Are you coming to class? And I could write a book on excuses, the excuses that I've heard from people, and it just is revealing about where they're at with themselves. I can't because. I don't have this because. We're going to talk about what your because is. You guys get my emails, right? I did an email on what's your because. Because whatever lies beyond your because is the life you want. So when you let go of those judgments, then guess what happens? Your hippocampus starts building up neural pathways on possibilities. Think about it in those terms, right? So your hippocampus will build up neural pathways or wiring on your blocks because you keep saying them to yourself. And once you start deleting those and dissolving those and replacing them with love, then your hippocampus will start building up neural pathways on love. And love is such a high vibration that it will draw to it infinite possibilities. Infinite possibilities. Like not just a few, and not just some. Infinite. So, how do you know the time? Okay. We'll go for another 20 minutes. I think this is kind of like a nice generic sort of pause point for some questions or feedback on, as I'm bringing this to you, like what's rolling through you.
That's why we pay three of our food, maybe.
Yes.
So we bless our food, so maybe our food bless.
It totally does. Okay, so blessing on the food. So when you bless your food, what you actually do is you raise the vibration of the food. And if you're a person that eats in a lot of restaurants, I would highly recommend you bless your food. I've worked in restaurants, and I know that sometimes the kitchen staff aren't very happy people. Because they're not treated very well in a lot of restaurants. They're not paid very well, they're not treated very well. So whoever is handling your food back there, whatever's going on for them, you know, is handling energy, handling your food, which is energy. Also, a lot of restaurants want to bless food for however it was handled in its preparation, like from the field or from the animal or what have you. It's really, really important. And so when you're blessing something, you always want to bless it from an energy of love. And anything else is not love. So what I want to say with that is, you always want to ask for things the way you want them, not the way you don't want them. So it's pointless to try to pray something out of something, because whatever we focus on expands. So when you're blessing the food, you're blessing it for being filled with nutrients and love and blessing, basically. And anything else doesn't really matter because it's a lower vibration. Okay.
So, ever since I've been more aware of that in the last 4 years of this concept, I've tried to not say, I'm in sales as well, right? And it's hardcore sales, right?
It is.
And so, you know, I'm about to go, new fiscal year starting for me, so I'm about to hit it hard again. I used to put these signs on my computers, no fear, because no rejections. You get 15 rejections for one yes. And now I'm like, no fear. Fear. That's all I see.
know.
There's no filter.
Yeah.
There's no. So I've been trying to figure out, how do I say that differently? Or I'm more conscious about how I word things.
Yeah.
When I'm conscious about it, right?
Well, so
Always on.
yeah, I think because at some level we're all in sales, right? So what I would suggest is where you actually step back from all of this is you don't have to hit anything hardcore.
Yeah, well, my situation has just been given my comp plan for the next year, and it's the whole launch.
Well, but there's what I'm hearing is that at the base of that, at the root of that, is in somewhere in your corporate culture, there's fear as a culture, and there's fear around sales, and there's fear. There's a big away from around the comp plan in general.
Yeah, it's all negative.
It's all
Don't do
negative.
this, you get that. If that doesn't
Yeah.
happen, you get penalized.
Well, so what you want to do is send your management to me, and I'll clean that up for them.
The icon they used had a little circle, red, and a little exclamation point on the place. I don't know if they subconsciously did that.
Yeah, it's because it's how they think. It's how they think. So I'm serious about that, because they need to have they don't need to do anything. But if they really want those comp plans to be honored without struggle and strife, then we can redesign the attention that they come from, right? Because those comp plans are coming from a negative place. So you're addressing it from a negative place. If they're coming from a negative place, then you are stepping up to it from a negative place.
Yeah, I see why now. If you track the history of what's happened.
Yeah.
So I can see back.
Right. And you can probably see when you have been challenged in the past with meeting your numbers, that it was coming from a place of negativity. And when you have, met your numbers, maybe there's times you came from fear, because fear was a motivator. And if fear is a motivator for you in your life, you will achieve your goals, but it will be hard. And what will end up happening is you'll achieve your goals. It's okay, Sally, just ignore that. What will happen is you'll achieve your goals. However, you will, it'll be like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back.
I get what you're saying, because I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and we were talking about how he closed this deal for $1 million in Canada. It took him 3 years, and I was like, oh yeah, we celebrated for one night.
Yeah.
One night. That's all you get from one night of joy, and then you're back to being crap until you get your next big
Wow.
thing.
Yeah, so that's your corporate
Yeah.
culture.
It's
That's your
just, that's
corporate
what that's
culture.
software, that's all across the board. It's
Well, okay, so now when you say that, there's another limiting belief. Because now you're projecting that that's everywhere. And basically what I'm hearing you say is that if you left this company, there's no other company to go to that would be better. And I don't think that's true. I think that's your projection. And if you project it, it's gonna get mirrored back to you as reality.
It's true, very true.
You've got to change your projection. I don't care what industry you're in, you've got to change your projection. Because that industry will reflect back to you whatever it is you project upon it. If you're projecting that out there, and this is a wonderful example, I used to work in the radio industry, and I wasn't very aware of my projections. And I quit that industry because I thought people were mean to each other and harsh. And at the end of the day, you know, I look back on it now, and you know, maybe they weren't so mean and harsh. Maybe I was putting out there to be mean and harsh to me because that was my own belief system. Because I still hadn't unwound a lot of my programming at that point. I was still unconscious of how broken I was and how I needed to heal myself. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, because an industry will be whatever, life will be whatever you believe it is. Because your hippocampus just builds up neural pathways and then it gets mirrored back to you. And then if you say, then when it gets mirrored back to you, if you want to even build up more negative neural pathways, if you say, see, look how awful it is, then you'll even support more of that.
So you say, see, look how good that was.
Well, we'll actually do some work on it today. Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome, good. Who else? What else are you thinking?
It just seems so elusive then because, you know, I'm writing down, you've got to change your projection because that's what will get reflected back to you.
Yeah.
So then reality's not real.
No, thank you. No, reality is not real.
Okay.
That's level 2.
Okay, but then what?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want, right? And
And
then,
for some people, that's just too much. What do you mean whatever I want? Well, there are restrictions. I see them everywhere. Well, you see them everywhere because you believe in them. We are, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the biggest awakening of human consciousness in mass, and we have an awareness on it that we've ever been, I think, in history.
like, you know, it's really exciting and inspiring to me, and I ask myself, what do I want? And then I get it.
Well, because maybe you just need to learn to love yourself more, and that answer will come. Because if you're asking yourself that question from a place of lack, how would you possibly come up with a higher vibrational answer?
Yeah, you're thinking lack, and that's all you're thinking, so you go right back into the.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even just not being
It's so
able
hard
to.
to change, this is.
It really is.
Good, God.
Well,
All these
it's,
corporate people, I mean,
Well, no,
Yeah.
because it's so hard, that's the point, we gotta stop.
I know, it's awesome. So by the very nature, I love this, by the very nature that you can't even decide what it is you want is coming from lack. Let me say something about I don't know. Okay, let me say something about, ladies, I don't know. When you say to yourself, I don't know, what you actually do is you break the connection in your brain syndicate. So how this all works is, and your hippocampus should be right in there between your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland. So how it works is, these are like spark plugs, okay? They're like spark plugs. And the spark plugs, right, in a car send an electrical signal, yeah? So these glands are like spark plugs where they send an electrical signal to one another. And they actually, through doubt and poor diet and lack of exercise, become calcified. So it's really important to exercise. Like even if you don't want to exercise for your body, exercise for your brain syndicate. Go, I'm gonna say this to the whole like fitness world. I used to own a gym, and I used to train bodybuilders, professional athletes, and I judged professional bodybuilding competitions, and I judged powerlifting meets. And I've been around, I was a jock in school. I've been pretty much a jock all my life. I know maybe I don't look like one right now, but when I put on my trainers, I can really like kill them out. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that work out to the point of you just can't do it anymore. Like kick your ass, kick your own ass. Whether it's in the gym, on the trail, down the street, I don't care where you do it. Just go and push yourself until you can't push yourself anymore. Because what it does is it decalcifies the glands in your brain synapses so that they can receive better signals. Or so they can receive signals better. Decalcifies. Yeah. So what happens is calcium actually builds up on the glands, and it's kind of like on a battery in a car when it builds up all that acid and corrosion, and then they don't fire. Or on your spark plugs, and they don't fire as well. So guess what? The car will miss. It won't run properly. And if the car is missing and it's not running properly, you're using more gas. It's not. You don't have the acceleration. Like it just doesn't work well. And that's kind of you. So when you decalcify the glands in your brain syndicate through sleep. So for those of you that are like bragging about how you can function on so little sleep, I'm over it. I don't really want to hear it, okay? Because you're just killing yourself. Poor food, it's like there's just no excuse for eating poorly. Even in areas where, you can always make a better choice. You can always make a better choice. And I don't have time to go into a class on nutrition. So just, do some research and learn how to eat better. And the two things you want to take out of your diet entirely is sugar and carbs. Or shall I say, not carbs, sorry, gluten. Sugar and gluten, completely out. Because it calcifies your brain syndicate. All right, so when you exercise and you push yourself really, really hard, like push yourself till you think you're gonna puke, like push yourself, like dig deep, like there's always more in you. You know what I'm saying? There's way more in you than what you think. So sign up for something that's totally gonna kick your ass and just keep going. And when you master it, then find another way to up-level that, right? And do it 5 times a week. Just make it your number one priority. Put it on your calendar before you put anything else in your calendar. When somebody says to me, can we meet at this time? And I say, no, I have a client. Guess where I'm going?
You're the client.
I'm going to work out. That's right. Because if I don't do that for me, I have nothing to give you. I have nothing to give the rest of my life. And the more you tune into your body, the more motivated you will be to do that for yourself, because the less accepting and tolerant you'll be of not feeling well. Right? That's what I learned. That's one of the biggest things I learned when I had my gym, was that when I didn't work out, or when my clients didn't work out, and they didn't feel well because they weren't working out, the more you work out consistently, the less tolerant you become of not feeling well. Because I'll tell you, man, there is nothing greater than feeling tuned up physically, right? When you're fit, it's like you're unstoppable. Totally. So, so that's a big piece. And then, so blessing your food, blessing your day, blessing when the phone rings, blessing, you know, that you get to go do what you do. You know, the other day I was walking down the street and I had a conversation, was having a conversation with someone that I had met recently at an event. And so we were chatting on the phone, and I was on my way to the gym, and I thought, yeah, why not take the call? I've got a few minutes, right? I'm walking down the street. So he said, well, you know, I have your card, like Neuroengineering Institute, like what do you do? And so I said to him, it just was very organic, you know, I said, well, we do business coaching and personal development, and we go into companies and we work with the stakeholders and the leadership team, and we help them shift the mind of the company so that they can actually manifest the results they want to manifest. My background's in neuroscience. And he goes, like there was this pause, right? And in the pause, something happened. And he's like, wow. And when that moment hit, it's like everything, you know, it was like another level of awareness took place. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what an amazing gift. So I want each one of you to take that on for you. Whatever it is you do, see it as a gift, as something you get to do, not you have to do. You don't have to go to work today. You don't have to talk to those people. You don't have to have those clients. You get to do what you do. You get to make those phone calls. You get to send those emails. You get to go have that meeting with that client. How cool is that? Excuse me. So what that does is it causes your brain syndicate to pull in higher vibrational energy, and it just keeps building on itself. So what else is going on for you, Jessica?
It's just really making me more conscious of the unconscious language I say to myself. You know, even when getting dressed or whatever, like you said, like, oh, I feel fat, or oh, like I'm mixing an exit, or I should have done something differently, or I forgot to do something. Just those little things, building them up and not being conscious of like every little time you're doing it, it's just creating this like negativity wiring in me, and it's making me really think like I need to be more aware.
That's right.
More aware. Like that should be my main focus every day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because it is done unto you as you believe. So getting aware of your beliefs and where the limiting beliefs are.
I was listening to all the voices in my head this morning. I'm like, damn, it's so mean. What's going on? How do I stop all this? It was just, I was like, I can't believe how big. I mean, I was judging my own
Judgments.
hearers, voices. You know, not voices. I mean, that sounds crazy, but you know what I mean? Like just a stream of thought.
Yeah.
All the streams of thought.
Well, and the cool thing about that is, I like that you've said that, because what'll happen when you're coming to something like this, like a personal growth workshop, or when you're deciding to make a change for yourself, the things that don't serve you will always be amplified. So that came up this morning to show you why you're here today and what you're clearing.
It was something really funny. Unconsciously, I knew I was coming here, but unconsciously I knew you were talking about this, and last night I unconsciously was watching Interstellar last night. Interstellar. All movies.
Wow.
Which is all tied into
Yeah,
what you were talking about earlier.
the layers.
It's insanely crazy.
It's beautiful.
It's
So
really
beautiful.
insanely crazy.
I love it. Let's go. Awesome. Victoria.
For me, I think so far, kind of, you made a statement around, you know, there is only love, right? Fear is something that we self-create. And I think especially in the sales force, right? Your corporations, companies, comp plans, they're structured to have fear. care, they wanna keep you, right? And so I think that even being an entrepreneur now in the state of mind, you know, fear of not succeeding, fear of not this, right? It's all built and developed from yourself internally. So I think that the statement that you made kind of resonated with me around, look, at the end of the day, you chop everything off, there's just love. And if you focus on that, then the rest will come.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Sal, what's going on for you?
Just thinking about how hard I've been on myself. It's like, wait, as far as I could. It's tough. It's hard to do. It's allowed me to progress to a certain
Right.
but I'm tired.
Yeah, it does, it wears you down. Yeah, so you can let that go today.
And there's certain things that I've probably gone through that I can't even remember. That's why I'm angry to myself that I need to just detach.
Yeah.
Because all I want to be is just a giving person and happy, right? Peaceful and not worried.
That's awesome. And you know, it's a process. Okay. So I think it's good to know it's a process. And I mean, like Alan will tell you that it's a process. Like it happens in layers. It happens in just, I guess it's a process, you know? And so, right, committing to that and just going, you know what, I'm in for the ride. You know, I'm in for whatever it takes. I'm going through the process and just unraveling the lies, and then I'm building up me. And then just keep coming, you know, from the class. Sure.
It's kind of funny, you know, I have a 6-year-old son, and I'm ex-Naval Special Forces and all kinds of stuff, you know, so I'm very critical. I mean, it's just the way I was brought up, you know,
Yeah.
like, everybody expects a certain thing from me, now I expect a certain thing from everybody else. So my son, we were in Poway Unified School District, one of the best ones in all of California, right? So ever since my son's been in preschool, he's had problems, you know, and he wouldn't sit still, so they're like, oh, he's only 3 years old, you know, he's not gonna sit still. He doesn't listen to you. So these teachers have been negative, they're like, well, put him over here, because we can't see it, you know, we can't deal with him, he's just running the class. Put him over here, and always shifting him, not to anyone. You know? This kid has been through a lot, you know, so, and I was sitting there, you know, we did like family counseling, we're like, all right, let's see if we can break through this a little bit, you know, and things got better, then it got worse again, and so we went back to this lady, and his teacher was real negative this last year early, and she was sending all these bad reports on him, right? And so he was getting in trouble at school, and then when he got home, like, James, he was gonna get in trouble for these too, like these certain things, right? And so he would get in trouble at home. So now he was overreacting at school for this, you know? Our family counselor goes, look, only show him love.
Where's the love?
Only love. Well, and that's, dude, I love this kid. I love my kids and my family more than anything, right? But so here I am. I'm like, all right, you know, you need to straighten up, you know? She goes, show him only love at home. Whatever he did at school is
Kind
what
of
he did at school,
somewhere to go
right?
for this.
Well,
Yeah.
it worked, you know? The shift happened even with this horrible teacher is I would come in like, hey, what'd you have? Well, you know, you got an okay note today. That's good for me, you know? And he'd be like, okay, well then he started getting good notes, a couple great notes. Even with this horrible teacher, when we moved him, we moved recently out to the new house a few months ago and put him in this little farm school. And the teacher hugged him the first minute
Oh
she
my
walked
God.
up.
Thank you.
3 months of great notes. She's like, I don't ever know why there was any problem at all. Never did any of this.
Because that
It was
teacher
all
was
about-
projecting her stuff onto him.
She had some handicapped kids and stuff, and so by the time she got to the school, she was done with the kids already. She had no
She should retire.
patience for them, so it was a
As
horrible
opposed to
experience.
being there.
And now it's like love, but still, I don't show them enough. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to the show love. I'm still very critical. Jace should have done that, or you know.
Because
so,
you'll show him the amount of love that you have for yourself.
there's still a big shift I need to do. I mean, there's a lot more love I need to do. You know? But
And
that
it starts
works.
with
It
you
works.
loving you.
I love myself.
Right, it does. So the thing is, so I want you to up-level this with him and take it to this place. No matter what note he brings home, you love him. No matter what he does wrong, you love him. It's not about what he does. You're not loving what someone does, you're loving who he is as a spirit. And whether he does good or does bad, you still love him. And this is the piece that you need to learn for yourself. I think we all do. No matter whether you perform or don't perform in your business or your sales, you still love yourself. And that's big.
I was listening when he said he was maybe all those type of things. That push to make you who you were and maybe stuff, I'm sure it wasn't a whole lot of yay moments. They were critical.
They're beat down.
Yeah.
Beat down.
They're beat down.
I got beat down a lot.
So that's part of that. You heard.
It's anchoring, yeah, totally. Awesome. All right, let's take a little break. Come back in like, do you need 15 minutes?